What's up, y'all? It's your girl Chelsea. I go by model Chelsea Talise in the fashion industry. I'm based in Louisville, Kentucky. 502 Stand Up. This is Beauty&Brains Cognitions of the Creative. Season 1, Episode 3. We'll be discussing teen dating violence awareness and prevention month, which takes place in February. I got my girl here, my girl, Tasia Johnson, who is what I would consider the ultimate creative. So talented. There is nothing I know that Tasia cannot do. We've been knowing each other since we were 14. We have the oddest story of how we met. We met on a plane, y'all. We was both flying to go see our dads or coming back home, one of the two. And we've just been cool ever since. So without further ado, Tasia, welcome. Thank you for being on the show. Welcome. I'm doing my round of applause. Please go ahead and introduce yourself.
I am Tasia, but my business name is Renee, so I am starting to be called that. And that nickname actually ties into this episode, so we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yes, creative is definitely a, a loose term to be used by some of the things that I do. I've worked in music, I've worked in entertainment, I've worked in events all around since I was 16, so a little bit after we met. And you know this, of course, about me. And I just kind of have always had this mindset that if you can think about it and you can dream about it, then you can do it. Mm-hmm. So I've just always strived for whatever I wanted to do. So I think that that's gotten me onto a lot of these and into a lot of these situations. But I think that the more experience you have, the more life that you live, the wiser you are, and just the more that you have to give back, you know. Yeah. So I think that's why I say relations, because I think throughout everything that I have done, I've built relationships. I've created bonds with different people through different things, and I've learned a lot along the way. So I can't really speak to one without speaking to another, or speaking about one and not speaking about the other.
Yes, it's
So because everything has been an experience.
I know you firsthand, so I'm very inspired by your story, and super just happy to have you on and encouraged in the things that I pursue. Just witnessing how persevering you are, and just the magnitude of one's testimony. So again, super happy to have you here. We're talking about teen dating violence today, and just to break the ice, I want to first start off by opening the door to allow you to explain what pulled you to volunteer to talk about this heavy topic.
Well, number one, you're my girl. So when you called and when you said, girl, I'm doing this podcast and I want to do this, and we sat down and we talked about it, and you just opened up and I could see the light in you. I could see that this was something that was really near and dear to your heart. So if there was anything that I could do to be a part of that, I would. And through our friendship, like you said about testimony, I think that there was a reason that we met on that plane that day. There was a reason we were sat next to each other. Yes. And there's a reason that we're both in Louisville, Kentucky. Like, what? Who could have planned that?
Yeah.
So I think it just is what it is. And when you asked, this one just kind of rang a bell in my head. And it may not be what everybody else talks about, but it's my version. This is my episode, right? And I mean, I've seen so many podcasts and I've thought about possibly maybe doing one. That's one thing I haven't done, but now I can't say that. So, why not just put myself out there and talk about it? The conversation has to be had, so why not? Why the heck not?
Why not, y'all? We sitting here face to face looking at each other in the eye like, why not?
Why not?
Why not? And that just that makes my heart smile because it's
Oh,
like it is important to me, you know, and
yeah.
so I appreciate you highlighting that, y'all. Side note, Tasia, if I have any type of marketing, Tasia has done it. First of all, okay, like any type of marketing, Tasia has done it. So very, very inspiring, very creative. Um, Conversations have to be had.
Period.
So here we are. Um, in your words, what is teen dating violence?
I would say any act that is done in a non positive light by someone that you are dealing with, whether that be a sexual partner, non sexual partner, whether that be a friend. I think that it, you know, surpasses the scope of just dating. You know, dating can mean so many different things, and I think it's more about relationships too. That's why I keep saying relationships, you know, friendships, you know, family memberships, whatever the case may be, you know. Whatever it is.
New word.
But again, you know, I think that that's what it is in my own words.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely, when I think about teen dating violence, my first thing is like, as a teenager, think about
that mindset.
My mentality when I was a teenager and my mentality now, I'm 30. What did I consider dating
exactly
as a teenager, you know? And so what I kind of want to shine a light on right now is dating through the lens of a teen today is what I'm trying to say versus, you know, my teenagers then.
Right.
It's some form of intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
If you have feelings for this person, if you, I don't know, spend a little bit more time over this person's house than others, if y'all are blowing up each other's phones throughout the day, going on dates, hell, teenagers are having sex. Let's keep it a buck. If you're doing that, those are what is considered dating now. And I mean, even adults, I feel like the lines get blurred on what the fuck dating is.
I don't think anybody wants to date anymore, but that's like, another episode.
That's a whole nother.
Yeah.
But I do feel that there is a talking phase. There is a dating phase where we're being intentional on what this is. Then there's exclusively dating, like you mine, I'm yours. And, you know, it's up from there. But teen dating violence, I think, is learned behavior and very much influenced behavior.
Yeah. I would definitely say like manipulated behavior. Anything that's intentional and that someone you're dealing with can use it to their advantage, I believe is some form of violence. And you're right, it is learned behavior because if you're a teenager, you are learning this behavior now. So I mean, you don't. It just is what it is. You can't just turn it on and turn it off. Like once it's there, you know, it's there.
And learned behavior is very close to a belief.
Yeah.
Or a value system. You know, if this is how
it's
you
like law.
act. Yeah, it's law. If this is how you act, like this is how you behave.
This is just who
your learned behavior. This is how you behave most of the time. Like that is deeper than that.
I think that you don't realize you're being taken advantage of. Or if you are being taken advantage of, because I think of it that way too. You know, if you are already clueless and then someone comes along to tell you that this is the right way, but it's actually the wrong way because they've not been taught the right way themselves. But because they're older, because it's normally somebody older than you, it's normally somebody that has a little bit more worldview than you, who may be sheltered, who may still live at home. Because let's talk about it. This is high school. This isn't college. 18, 19 is when you grown a little bit. Yeah. But prior to this happens in middle school even. Yeah. I mean, it's happening earlier and earlier. And I think we need to talk about that. Because when I was in middle school, there were girls that were pregnant. So there was definitely some influence coming from somewhere. Oh, yeah. I mean, it doesn't just hop out of the sky, you know? So I think that's where it happens. And then from there, like you said, it's just learned. And then you start this cycle that just continues until you start really looking inward and saying, okay, something's not right. Yeah. I'm not getting anywhere. I'm dealing with the same type of guys. I'm falling for the same types of things. I'm not recognizing red flags because you were never taught. Ooh. Period. That hurts. That's it. So there were some guys that I dealt with when I was younger. And you know, when you're young, well, at least when I was young, I can't speak for anybody else, but when I was young, you know, talking to someone older was cool. And, you know, if he had a car or this and that, no, that's just even more influence over you. Oh, yeah. Oh, and it's definitely power. It's definitely a power thing. And just the bringing in the piece of where our industries come in, and how culturally influenced we are of money or just materialistic status. Yeah. And so a lot of people will do a lot to get views. And that on social media is something that I want to talk about too. Because that's been something that I've stood on for as long as I've decided that I'm going to be a part of this entertainment world. I never wanted to do anything for clout. I never wanted to do anything for fame, or I don't want that. Yeah. I don't need that. And I stand on that. Like, I've never sought out an opportunity in a sexual manner. I've never accepted sexual advances from anybody. Anything I've done, I've worked for, and I've worked my tail off to get. And that's one message that I definitely want to resonate with every young girl and everybody that's growing, the teenagers that are listening, whoever is listening. You can do it. Yeah. There is a way to be in this industry and still live your life and not let it take you. I think that's where boundaries come in, but that's a whole nother podcast. And I don't mean like take you, like, you know, like they take you somewhere. Yeah. But I just mean, you know, there's a way to be involved without compromising your morals and who you are as a person. That's good. And feeling like you have to do something to get somewhere because this person, there's always somebody. And there's always a way. There's always a way, even when people say no. Oh, yeah, for sure. And I'm truly a believer in if it's meant to be, it will be. And the people that you need will come to you. Like, it's always divine timing. Okay, so let's continue. Back to learned behavior. That is very layered when it comes to where this behavior gets picked up. So this can be in the home. This could be at the school. This could be in the community. That's 3 off the top of my head. And if you think about it, these are places that we frequent often, especially teenagers. The movies, yes. Just social events, social excursions. And let's not forget about that time between when you get out of school and when your parents get home from work. That's good. Because it's some time. A couple hours. It's some time. It's a couple hours. It's enough time. Okay. You're not working. You don't have no responsibility. What are you doing? On that phone. On that phone. So I can definitely say, I mean, it kind of feels like you're being groomed and you don't even realize it. I dealt with this one guy. I mean, I had never thought about skipping school. I skipped school. I showed up at it. I mean, and you think when you're young like that is fun, and this is what you should be doing because this is what people,
Totally
categorize.
oblivious.
When really no, like this guy can't get with girls his age, and the girls his age don't want him. That's why he's pursuing you.
Oof.
But you think you cool because he could drive and you can't even get your permit.
Can't nobody tell you nothing.
No.
But he got it all.
And he living in his parents' basement.
Jesus. Damn.
Oh my gosh, man.
But for real though.
We don't have enough time for me to tell all my stories. But anyway, I think that when you don't know, you just don't know until you learn better.
Yeah.
But again, it just goes back to mindset.
I think the teenage era, or I'm sorry, the teenage population currently, it's really difficult for them because social media is
a beast.
I can't even describe the differences in social media between when we were teenagers and these teenagers today. I mean, we had the Walkmans, we had the pogo sticks, we had the electric scooters. We had to do everything. iPods, and all of that. Dinosaur TVs and computers,
remember when you had to go to somebody's house to get on the computer to get on your social media?
And it would take forever. But teenagers today, they have so much access. They have so much access. And the fact that you can have so many accounts on so many different platforms.
We learned that tonight.
At the same damn time. We did learn that. At the same time, people can reach out to you. If I'm trying to reach out to you on Messenger and you don't reach out fast enough, I can reach out to you on Instagram. And if you don't reach back out fast enough, I can reach out to you on Snapchat. That's stalking. That's harassment. Sorry, borderline stalking. That is harassment. Y'all leave folks alone, man. I don't want to talk. For real, and I've experienced this as a woman. Just men sliding into my DMs. And I try to be pleasant. I try to be kind. Do you, Chelsea? I do. If they give me some type of compliment, good morning, beautiful, blah, blah. Good morning, you have a nice day as well. Then they get to, good morning, how you doing, what you doing? And it's like, oh, come on now. I thought we was just, exchanging a greeting. And then when you don't write them back after a certain period of time, whenever they get tired, then it's a nasty message. Well, I wasn't even feeling you like that. No way. Your attitude is nasty.
That's when the devaluing happens. That's when the degrading happens. And that's when it's you.
Yeah.
But before then, it was about you. Now, it's against you.
Men, y'all got to stop doing it. That's not okay. It's not okay. And it's very... Because it's on that, I feel like everything is on a spectrum. Because I've also experienced that in the flesh, being out with my homegirls, and it's some homeboys, coming down the street or whatever, they hollering at a group of us. We don't respond. Now we all types of bitches.
I've definitely dealt with a guy who just was all in my face and was like, "Well, do you like me or whatever?" And I'm like, I'm okay. I'm good. I'm good. Is there a problem? No, there's just no problem. I'm flattered, but no thank you. I don't want to go to dinner with you. Thank you, but no thank you. Is there a problem? You're just not my type. I'm sorry. Like, I don't.
Him.
Like, how many times I have to say no?
Yeah. Yeah. And
Do you
this
like me
is,
when you want to go out with me?
but this is us now speaking with boundaries, right? So,
Right.
and
somebody wants you when you're young.
yeah,
That's
well,
it.
we have these boundaries now because we're speaking from the age of
Experience.
30, you know, and I can't tell you I would be speaking like this at the age of 14, 15, 16 about my what I would consider a partner at the time.
Right.
If that
Partner. Who you going to the prom with? What I'm talking about? Partner.
Freaking partner. Anyway, what you call a high school friend? Well, that's what the granny said. That's your little friend. Hey. Definitely was our little friend because where they at now?
Right. Doing all of this. Getting in trouble, sneaking out for what?
Girl, I was about to risk it all.
Hey. I got kicked out of his parents' house.
Got your phone took the next day at school. Is risk factors for teen dating violence. The first one that comes to mind is parental involvement and how much or how little of a community a teenager has. I do think a lot of, I'm not going to say that, that might be my opinion, but teen dating violence, victims, survivors, people currently experiencing it, they typically don't have that knowledge. Like you were talking about, they typically don't have that knowledge because they don't have that support. A lot of these teenagers might have just might have just came out of the system. Mm-hmm. You know, they've been in foster care or on the streets or bouncing around different households. Like there's so much that goes into why somebody would do it or allow it. Mm-hmm. In my opinion.
Right. I think it being a huge age difference, like more than 2 or 3 years. I think age is a big factor at that point because 14 and 17 and 19 are three completely different people.
Yes.
And you talk about how much your brain grows like a sponge when you're a child. Just think about when you're older and you have hormones and you're trying to, it's hard being a teenager. On top of that, I think that there's also a factor with safety too. You know, nobody that actually cares about your well-being should be asking you to do something that's going to compromise your safety, your well-being, or your access to anything. So asking you to sneak out the house in the middle of the week when you got to go to school, asking you to meet him somewhere, or you get picked up somewhere else and you go where you say you go.
Sneaky.
Like, yeah, all of that. Having people over when you're not supposed to have anybody over your house. All types of different things that you don't think about when you're young. You know, your parents made rules for a reason. Like you said, that parental involvement. Yeah. Are you including them? No, you're not talking to your parents. Most teenagers aren't. No. But I mean, if they keep that door open, you know, there are some things you could talk to your parents about, but sometimes you just gotta learn the hard way. But anytime you are risking your safety or your well-being, and I mean, you know, getting your phone taken, like you said, not being able to go anywhere. I don't know what the young people do now. Yeah, right. But you know, whatever it may be, anything like that. They're older. They ask you to do different things that you're not comfortable with doing, or you haven't experienced yourself yet, or even trying drugs. Like there was one guy that used to smoke a lot, and I was terrified at this point before, you know, with smoking, everything else. So him even exposing me to that when I wasn't even thinking about that, you know?
Hmm.
Just allowing yourself the time to actually be a teenager.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I miss being a teenager sometimes.
And they always say you're gonna miss it when you're in high school and everything. And you're like, no, I'm not. I hate this place
I
and blah blah
swear,
blah.
teenage
Man,
years, you're just really trying to figure out where you fit in.
yeah, it's hard.
It is hard, and then when you're juggling all of that and attempting to be the love of somebody else's life when you are clearly under construction.
You're still learning too.
I think, yes, I think religious backgrounds can play a role in
What you allow.
what you allow, yes, and how somebody may view dating violence or
Mm,
teen dating violence. Like, this might be going way off, but back in the G and really not too long ago, our folks was allowed to sell us off to our husband.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that was okay then. And this person could have been way older than us.
Hmm.
And we didn't have a say in that. And there was a lot of um what's it called? Power struggles because of what you said, the age difference
Hmm.
in the relationship.
Hmm.
And so here we are today with obviously not that same breakdown, but some of those beliefs are still attached to us as far as gender roles.
Right.
Some religions and some backgrounds and some cultures, there are certain ways you have to act, there are certain ways you have to speak, certain ways you have to approach, certain ways you have to dress. You know what I mean? Like, and it, violence or assault, that can look different in different cultures, or
Hmm.
just hostility, that can look different, or just
Right.
the dynamic of a relationship. So I think depending on the culture depends on what is acceptable in someone's eyes.
Hmm.
And like you said, how much you will allow.
Hmm. Yeah. I wasn't even thinking about your belief system and how that can really play a big role,
Hmm.
especially if that's how you're brought up and that's all you know. Like I said, you're still learning, and if you were taught that that was okay,
Yeah. And if you deep in that culture, when would you learn otherwise?
never, unless you leave.
Unless you leave, unless you experience the alternative,
Yeah.
of what that looks like.
Or you change what you believe in.
Because at some point, if it don't work, if it ain't adding up, your your mental and your emotional are gonna feel unaligned.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, eventually you're gonna have to make a change.
Eventually, something is not gonna click together.
Hmm. Yeah. Last thing, how has your experience impacted your career path? So, as a event coordinator, um, someone who has experience in filmmaking, producer of your own music, and she sings, y'all. She rolling her eyes at me. That's my girl. She can sing too. But as far as your industry and all the different paths that you wear a hat in,
Hmm.
how would you say your experience with teen dating violence has impacted your career path?
I just always made it a thing for myself to never put myself in a situation that I was uncomfortable with because of things that I dealt with when I was younger, when I was a teenager myself, and just like I said, like you said, learn behavior. When you know better, you do better. So when I decided that I did want to work in music and coordinate events, I just always had this outlook. I mean, that's just what it's always been for me. And I guess like you said, like boundaries. Like I set that boundary very early on.
Yes.
So I just always go back to it. And anytime I don't, and I just thank God that I've never been in anything that I felt like I couldn't handle, or that I was put on for the wrong reasons, or I felt like I had to compromise who I was or change the type of person I was or do something that I didn't feel comfortable with. Like, everything has been smooth. And I think because I've just always shown that work ethic, and I've always shown that professionalism and that curiosity to want to learn. I think when you show your interest and you're around the right people, that takes notice.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of things that I've worked on where I've been asked to come back, or, I've dealt with the same people on multiple occasions and they remember you.
Yeah.
So your behavior speaks for itself. For sure. What mark do you want to leave behind? What impression do you want to leave?
Yeah.
I think you have to think about that. I remember I got upset on set when I was working my first TV show because I had been running and doing all this stuff all day. And I was just so frustrated. And one of the producers pulled me to the side and he was like, people are only going to see what you show them, and he said, understand, how you feel. And, it's been a rough day. I get it. He was like, but you just have to decide what you want them to see, and who you're going to be, and I think that kind of stuck with me throughout the rest of the things that I did within that industry, because that's a really tight knit industry too. And I've never had any issues. And if something didn't work out, or if I wasn't supposed to be somewhere, I didn't work there, And sometimes things just don't work out. But I think that knowing what I learned young and being a part of different things young, I think my family has a background in media, so I was going to 106 in Park, and I was on TV young. I was going to different. I was going to a lot of professional places young, so I think it was instilled to me earlier, where someone who hasn't had the experience or only has dealt with their school or their home or just their main surroundings, then they may have a different view. But that's why I said shoot for the moon. Like, do as much as you can, learn as much as you can. Knowledge is power.
For sure. Your response was very progressive as far as what took place, what you had to do, what you did, and where you are now.
Right.
Like, it's a journey.
Yeah.
It's a process.
And I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I definitely made mistakes, and there are definitely other skeletons in the closet or different bad things, but you gotta choose who you want the world to see. And if we need to have those conversations, we have those conversations. Right. And everybody goes through something.
And bigger than who we want the world to see, but
who you want to be.
What version of ourselves we want to be.
Like, right.
Because it's a lot of us, okay?
Right.
And when I say yes, I'm talking about me.
Okay. Here she is, everyone.
But no, we all have different versions of ourselves. Right. And we have to tap in.
Yeah.
We just have to tap in.
Time and place is such a big thing.
Yes.
It's okay to be yourself, but you also just have to decide who you want to be
Mm-hmm.
around everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what makes you comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Without contradicting yourself.
Yeah.
In your image. That's challenging.
Especially based on the influence that you've had.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, this was awesome, Tay Renee. Stay tuned, y'all, for episode 4, National Eating Disorders Awareness Week. Miss Tay Renee, do you have anything you would like to say as we wrap it up here? This was awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been a great eye opener and a fun experience, and I'm glad you had me.
Thank you, Tasia.
See
y'all
you
stay
again
tuned.
behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes. We love and appreciate y'all for listening.
Yes.
Be blessed, you and your family. And we holla.
Bye.